Hey everybody, it's me, Albatross. I'm back. And there was a couple things that I forgot to say in the last video, and I wrote them down here so I wouldn't forget. First and foremost, please share the videos, especially Allie's videos, because she really needs our help. Like, she is all alone. Her and her mom, they're all by themselves, and just please share these videos. We need to really push this, guys. We really need to push this. And what was that? What else? Oh, yeah. Another thing. I am very new to YouTube and actually this whole thing in general. I have avoided the internet for the last 10 years with the exception of watching YouTube and checking my email. I have avoided the internet. So I did not know that I didn't have to go through this whole entire fucking document and mark off all those, bad words that I didn't know. I thought that everyone had to do that. I thought everyone had to do that. So I just found out today, well, actually just a few minutes ago, I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. Well, I mean, within reason, within the community guidelines and all. So, but I didn't know that. So that made it a lot easier to get through this document without blurting out all those words. So, anywho, okay, what next? One more thing. A couple more things. Yeah, okay. The part 2 of the reaction to the big homie CC. I'm sorry. It's just that it takes forever to download every video. So I'm, doing my best. But I'm glad I did do that because he basically confirmed a lot of stuff that Allie's been telling us. So, I always believed her. I'm just saying it helps when you have more people vouch for it, more people bringing awareness to it. That's what we need to do. And, okay, last thing. Allie confirmed in these videos, right? So, I don't know how many lies we gotta hear before we stop listening to liars and just focus on realize that these are all big fat distractions that they're throwing in our faces and focus on what's important. Okay? Stop paying attention to liars. Okay? It's weird. It's funny because I'm a little upset with YouTube. I've reported that video about 100 times, even before Allie confirmed she didn't know that girl. I've reported that video. And it's still up. Still up. It's just weird. Anywho. Okay, yep, that was it. So, back to the lawsuit. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it a lawsuit, but it's actually an appeals case. So, but I'm just calling it a lawsuit because it's just easier to say. And also, this is probably going to be several videos because it's 8 pages. Okay. So, basically what we got here is these parents are trying to appeal their case. The Riverside CPS terminated all their parental rights, terminated them, and they're here trying to appeal this case. Now, this first part right here, this motion here that they in the original proceeding, they were trying to get a judge, a temporary judge to hear this case. This guy, Bradley O'Snell, they were trying to get him to hear this case. And for whatever reason, they denied it. So, for whatever reason, they ended up getting this person down here. But we'll get to that in a second. This, so yeah, that's what that code means. And here, let me show you. DS is the father. And, right here again. DS is the father. Oh, my bad. Oops. Okay, sorry. My bad. Woo. My bad. DS is the mother. JS is the father. And there will be the child the child is SS, which we'll see in a second. Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I really looked into this case. I really did my due diligence. And I find it interesting. These two ladies, guess how much they make? I mean, sue me for being petty. But guess how much they make every year? Well, here, I've got it written down. Miss Pamela here makes an annual, as of 2013, makes as the same job, makes the annual salary of $272,000 plus a year. So like almost $250,000, or is that, no, that is that's over $250,000. So yeah, per year as interim of county council for Riverside. This woman here, I'm not gonna try to pronounce her name and get it wrong. I don't, I'm not gonna try to do that. But this lady, lady 2 of the county council, I know I'm a mess. She makes $141,000 plus a year as of 2015 as deputy of county council of Riverside. I know I'm petty, but I just find it interesting because it's like almost every other, like, their county councils literally make higher than any county council in our whole country. Just something to point out. And another interesting thing about these two ladies is I can't find one single bad review online about them. Not one. Isn't that weird? You find bad reviews about everybody. You find bad reviews about doctors and everybody. It's just, why can't I find one bad review on two women who have torn apart multiple families and made it impossible for them to ever reunite again? It was curious. It was very curious. But anywho, moving on from that. These two ladies, they're the ones representing the social services. They work for the county council. She's the interim county council. She's the deputy county council. So anyway, they're representing social services. So since they didn't get that temporary judge that they wanted, the parents, DS, mother, and JS, father, they ended up getting this guy, Holenhurst. They ended up getting him. And I didn't really find much about him either. Like I said, it was all good. Strange enough. I mean, maybe if I dig a little deeper, I can find more reviews. But, like, I don't know. It was just strange. I've usually never had such a hard time finding reviews on people before. Okay. But anywho, go do your own research and find out for yourself. Come back and tell me if I'm just crazy. Okay. So, mother and father filed separate petitions for an order extraordinary right pursuant to California Rules of Court Rule 8.452. And a right pursuant is basically like their document, like their like appeal to, they want to appeal the fact that they terminated their reunification services to their child SS. Okay. Now we go back up here. And a 366.26 hearing, that's, basically a hearing where they want another chance to get their children back. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I really had to do this. This took me all day. So give me a break. Okay. All right. Mother and father argue that, one, they were not provided with reasonable reunification services, and two, the court erred in finding it detrimental to return the child to the mother. God. 1, 2, 3. The court erred in finding it detrimental to return the child to their care. Mother additionally contends that the court erred in admitting her psychological evaluations into evidence, since the evaluations did not specify how it would be detrimental to place the child in her care. Well, big surprise to nobody, they deny this. And then they go into the factual background of this case. And this one, they start listing dates. Okay. On August 25th, 2006, the Riverside County Department of Public Social Services, the department filed a petition on behalf of the child, who was 2 months old at the time. The petition alleged the child came within Section 300, subdivisions B and J, and if you look at my previous video, I go a little more into depth into those. And the petition included the following allegations. Okay, yeah, this is where they get into like why they think these codes apply. Mother had been diagnosed with borderline intellectual functioning and depression. And I looked into borderline intellectual functioning, and it's basically like, I don't want to offend anyone when I say this word because this is the actual medical word that they used, but it's basically on the spectrum of mental retardation, but like on the lower end of the spectrum. So like for my that's what my research showed me, that this is basically like they've got some form of mental retardation. And like on this level, I've actually known people with this level. And so, but someone that has nothing to do with this case. So I don't know this woman. I don't know. I'm just reading what's on this court document. These are the reasons they're using, that they don't think that these are the reasons they use, and the mother is saying they don't, think they failed to specify how these would put the child in danger. That's what she's saying. And the father, who had also been diagnosed with the same thing. And that's not uncommon. I mean, like, they usually go to, like, community services and stuff, and they meet each other, and they form relationships. There's nothing wrong with that. And, I mean, as long as everything's consensual, there's no problem with that. But, okay. But this other thing that they say, that he had been diagnosed with impairment in parental and social functioning, yeah, that's not a standalone diagnosis at all. That's not an actual diagnosis. That is a symptom of many diagnoses. Many of them. 2 of them are like autism and ADHD. You know what I mean? Like, so that could apply to many. Like, that's not a specific diagnosis. So it's just weird that they would say that he was diagnosed with that. Unless they're saying it has to do with his board. I don't know. And the parents had displayed inappropriate and destructive parenting by not meeting the child's basic needs. And they go into why. They allege that their home was cluttered and infested with fleas. Yeah, that's their argument. Their house was cluttered and infested with fleas. And now, I'm not saying that that's great at all. You should never be infested with fleas. But how many of us who have pets have come home from, like, work one day and, like, you look around and your dog's in the living room and it looks like, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? And there's fleas jumping on the floor, like, out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And I mean, that happens all summer long. In fact, this summer, it's like my dog, bless his heart, it was like every week, like, the flea medicine will wear off, and then all the fleas will come back, and they'd be biting me and everybody. So, I mean, and so, I don't know, that just seems like, I don't know, that doesn't seem very substantial to me, but I'm not a judge or a legal expert. But, yeah, that's weird. That's a red flag to me. Sorry. Okay. Moving on. They were unable to provide a safe and stable living environment, in that they had a history of being trained. Now, listen to the words. Listen to the words. They had a history of being transient. Not that they are transient, that they have a history of it, okay? And were recently evicted from their home. Now, they don't go on to say if I feel like if they were homeless, they would say it. But no, they're not saying that. They're saying they had a history of being transient and were recently evicted from their home. So what does that mean? I don't know. You tell me. They don't specify. And another reason they give is another word. They had a substantial history. Remember, history, not current, but history with Riverside County Child Protective Services. In that the child's half-sibling, JS, that was their other child, was removed previously from this child as a result of general neglect. Now, legally, general neglect can mean many, many things. It could be something small. It could be something big. Like, it could be something as small as, I don't know, like, let me think. I'm trying to think of an example. Like, not cleaning your house properly, or feeding them dinner late, or I don't know. Like, those are small examples. Now, there's bigger examples of general neglect where it's like you're ignoring their health needs and things like that, that are more serious. So, but they don't specify what they mean by general neglect in this lawsuit, or, this appeal. They don't specify it. So that it makes, so it, they're using very vague terms and things like that to make it appear like they're using those fallacies again, right? Like, I'm not going to go into every fallacy. You can figure it out. Look at the list, but from my previous video, but they're using like every fallacy in the book here from so far, and we're only to page 2. We're only to page 2. Okay, so yeah, they had removed their child's half-sibling. They don't say the date yet, but I think they removed the half-sibling in March 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like only a couple months before like the first time SS was removed. Okay. They failed to reunify with him, meaning JS, the first child, and their parental rights were terminated. The parents were currently on probation for child endangerment abuse. Apparently they were charged. They don't say if they were charged from the first child. Like, again, they don't say. They don't say. Okay, yeah, and a trigger warning. It gets kind of weird. They displayed a lack of insight and poor judgment in that the child was conceived as a result of their incestuous relationship. Now, before you jump in and judge or anything like that, I'm going to tell you right now. Come to find out, they prove that they weren't brother and sister. Spoiler alert, they find out later in the lawsuit that they do these testing and everything because they keep hassling these people about being brother and sister. And it turns out that they're not. That they're like distantly related, but they're not brother and sister. Which is still weird. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm just saying that them putting it in here. And listen to their proof that they've got for them being brother and sister. Just wait. Okay. So, the child was conceived as a result of their incestuous relationship. Both parents denied they were siblings. See, the parents are denying they're siblings, even though previous CPS referrals stated that they were siblings. Okay? So these are previous CPS papers written by a social worker saying that they were brother and sister, and that they engaged in sexual intercourse in front of their 10-year-old sister. Now, that is pretty specific, and that's awful. That's awful if that's what happened. But I would like to know if they're this unable and have this much lack of insight and they're saying all these words. They're basically calling these people dumb, is what they're saying. And if they're this incapable of caring for themselves and all this other, well, who was supervising them when they were doing this in front of their 10-year-old sisters? Would I'd like to know. I mean, this is their 10-year-old sister, right? Where they're not the guardian for their 10-year-old sister. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I mean, am I wrong? So, like, what's going on? Like, it's very confusing. Because it's like, on the one hand, it's like they're saying that they're this, they can barely function, they have lack of insight, they don't understand anything, but yet, oh, just wait, it gets worse later. It gets way worse the way they talk about these people. So, like, what I want to know, if they're this bad, and there is a 10-year-old sister in the house, who is the 10-year-old's guardian? It's not them. It's not these parents. Because it's their sister. So, but I digress. Because I'm getting too carried away. Because I hung up on this. Because, like, I don't get it. Maybe someone can explain it to me. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm the dumb one. Yeah. Okay. The detention hearing was held on September 13th, 2000. Okay. This is the, hearing where they got charged for child endangerment. Okay. All right. This is where they delve into it a little bit more. Okay. The detention hearing was held September 13th, 2006. The court made a prima facie, and I looked that up. Oh, yeah. I did my research. And a prima facie, legal terms, based on first impression, accepted as correct until proven otherwise. So, yeah. They made a first impression finding that the child was a person described by Section 300 subdivisions B and J. Now, J is the one referring to that JS's sibling had been abused, all right? Now, B, if you watch my previous video, you'll know that subdivisions B has like 4 categories underneath of it. It has 4 different categories underneath of it, and they don't specify which one it is. That's another thing. They're not being very transparent about this. Is it all of them? If it was all of them, then why didn't they put all of them down? I mean, it's because, like, the whole subdivision B is defined by one of the following categories: A, B, C, D. So, like, why aren't they specifying which one? Anywho, and removed the child from the parents' custody and placed her in a foster home. And you'll find out later the criteria for a foster parent. It's not as much as you think it is. There's not even a criminal background check. But yet they're holding these I digress. I got to move on because it's really pissing me off. It's really pissing me off. Okay. Jurisdiction disposition. Okay. In the report on September 27th, 2006, the social worker reported that the parents were previously found guilty. Now, again, look at the words previously. They're still going back on stuff that's not even happened. Like, there is nothing happened so far that we've read. Nothing has happened to this child. This is all from history stuff from their sibling. Okay. Okay, yeah. And they were previously found guilty of child abuse and endangering from the penal code with regard to their other child, JS. The parents failed to reunify with him after 1 year's services. That's important too, because you find out later that they're supposed to give them 18 months of reunification services. And for their first child, they only gave them 1 year. And you'll find out from this report, they said they gave them 18 months for this child, but it was only like 14 months. So, like, they're very, like, they use these terms very loosely. I'll say that. They use these terms very loosely in their court documents. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, I'm just trying to find my place. Sorry, I really lost I got off on that tangent. Okay. Okay, here we go. And then they terminated them on March 26, 2006. Okay. The social worker in JS's case and the latter stated that the parents were okay. So yeah, the social worker on that case, the current case, and the social worker in JS's case, the one in JS's cases states that the parents were brother and sister. So that's where they're getting this information from JS's social worker, because JS's social worker is saying they're brother and sister. She doesn't provide proof for this. She's saying it. And that the brother and sister, they're not even calling them the, oh, sorry, my bad. I need to go back to the previous sentence. The latter stated the parents were brother and sister, were developmentally dislayed, and were transient most of the time. So again, they're not saying they're transient now. They're saying they're transient most of the time. So what does that mean? When were they transient? The social worker recommended that the trial court deny parents reunification services based on their failure to reunify with JS from their one year reunification services. The department, okay, yeah, all right, here we go. The department later amended the petition and struck the allegations regarding the parents' home being cluttered and infested with fleas. Yeah, big surprise, because I don't know how that would hold up with anybody. And they also struck with the parents being on probation. That, right, like... Anyway, and the parents' incestuous relationship. Another thing that they should have struck, because it's like they have no proof for any of this. They have no proof for any of this. So, or if they do, they're not providing it. They're not being transparent about it. Okay. And this is a pre-trial hearing on November 7th, 2006. On the first amended petition, okay, the party stipulated. So basically, upon stipulation of amending the petition, so they had stipulations. They didn't just strike it from the record. They had of course they did. They had stipulations to advance the jurisdiction hearing to that very day. To that very day that they were at for the pretrial hearing. Yep. And then, of course, big surprise to nobody, the court found that the child came within Section 300 and adjudged her dependent of the court, and the court placed the child in a foster home. They did order reunification services for both parents and ordered psychological evaluations for both parents. The parents' case plans included the requirements that they participate in individual counseling, complete a parent education program, and comply with substance abuse testing. I'm sorry, did anybody read at any point so far? Did you guys hear one single thing about drug abuse so far? Not one thing. So why the hell are they making them get substance abuse testing? For a cluttered house. For borderline intellectual not personality, but borderline intellectual. Like, why are they, like, right? Is that just, I mean, am I crazy here? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have any experience with CPS personally. I mean, I got a lot of friends who have, but like me personally, I thankfully haven't crossed their paths. So someone tell me, is this like normal? Like if they're questioning you on like disabilities that you've got and things like that they're going to drug test you then? I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyways, I've already rambled on too long. I'm going to have to come back tomorrow to finish this up. It's like I said, this is going to be in a couple parts, guys. I mean, this one is, oh my God, it gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. Stay tuned. Please share, especially share Allie's videos. Please share Allie's videos. Please, please. You don't even got to share my videos, but share Allie's videos. We really need to get word out. Her and her mom really need to get help. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you. I hope you guys have a good night. Pray against all this demonic energy and against these evil people because, yeah. Have a good night.